I'm Data Driven Doug. Subscribe for the substance. Let's get into it. This is a specialized non-native monoculture on permanent life support. We call it a lawn, but the mechanics reveal a resource-heavy engine that only produces a recurring chore and misplaced pride. Sometimes data isn't a peer-reviewed study, it's the realization of what's always here under our feet. We spend a lifetime growing a crop that we immediately cut down and discard. It's an ecological dead zone maintained by a chemical cocktail that provides zero biological value to our land. Historically, in an era of subsistence, land meant survival. Dedicating vast tracts to a plant that produced zero food signaled extreme wealth. It proved that you were so rich you could afford to let productive soil sit idle. And you had enough capital to pay a small army of laborers to scythe it by hand, just for the aesthetic of control. The scythes were traded for combustion engines, but the baggage is still with us. Just look at the mechanical absurdity of the process. This specific plant was selected because it grows fast, and then a lifetime is spent ensuring it never actually grows. We water it to encourage elongation, then use machines to shear it back down to an arbitrary 3-inch height. This is a feedback loop of forced growth and manual suppression. If any other biological process involved adding inputs, water, nitrogen, and phosphorus, only to immediately use more energy and more labor to destroy the resulting output, it would be flagged as a systemic failure. Also, run the numbers on the time trap. You're looking at an average of 70 hours of maintenance every year. Over a 50-year adult lifespan, that's 3,500 hours, roughly 145 full days spent walking behind a vibrating engine. That exceeds the time that many spend on hobbies or with their extended families. Then there's the physical drain. Between the equipment, fuel, seed, and treatments, the yard requires a constant stream of materials and labor. Over 40 years, the cumulative energy spent on equipment maintenance and petroleum-heavy interventions is staggering. Our 3,500-hour lifetime commitment to keep a plant from doing what it naturally wants to do. The fragility of the lawn is baked into its DNA. Kentucky bluegrass, that's a marketing myth. This plant is a biological import from Europe and North Asia, geographically displaced, existing in a state of perpetual biological stress. It didn't evolve here. There's no natural defense against local flora and or fauna. To keep this struggling species alive, the U.S. applies 70 million pounds of pesticides and herbicides to lawns annually. That's 10 times more per acre than what's used to grow food. The chemicals leach into groundwater and trigger nitrogen spikes in local waterways, fueling toxic algae blooms that suffocate aquatic life. This green carpet is essentially biological plastic. It offers zero food for pollinators, zero habitats for birds, and zero carbon sequestration compared to deep-rooted alternatives. The scale is the problem. 40 million acres of lawn makes turfgrass the largest irrigated crop in America. It consumes 3 trillion gallons of water annually, 30% of all residential use. During peak summer months, that number hits 60%. But replacing just a small amount of grass with high-yield food plants like potatoes, greens, or vertical squash can produce hundreds of pounds of produce annually. The land moves from a maintenance chore to a source of sustenance. What if you don't want to be a farmer? Maybe you have zero interest in weeding a vegetable patch or managing a harvest schedule. If you want to delete the chore without adding a new job, there's always the native meadow. Replacing your grass with native wildflowers and grasses removes the need for constant human intervention. Turf roots hit 3 inches. Native roots can hit 10 feet. These deep root systems act as a massive carbon sink and natural filtration units for rainwater. They stabilize the soil, prevent erosion, and require zero chemical intervention once established. Congrats! You're no longer a caretaker for dying plants. And just maybe you've started a self-sustaining ecosystem. Yay! Stop being a servant to the monoculture. Kill the grass. Plant a garden. Let the native plants take back their turf. Make the land a strength, not a weekend sentence. Data doesn't lie. The lawn is a losing bet. That's the data for the segment. Another video is ready when you are. I'm Data Driven Doug. Don't guess. Data test.